What is going on, my Masketeers? Welcome back to another masquerade. And we are here with the Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This is a special movie, so we're going to do things a little bit differently this time. Again, I am not alone because people are vibing so much with the last video which I did where I had special guests. I thought, you know what, let me run it back. I did watch the movie with these two, so it only made sense that we would get into the thick of it and discuss the way the film went, the ups and downs and the in-betweens. But without further ado, let me introduce my two special guests. First off, he is no stranger to the M.A.S.K channel. He is an honorary member. He needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. The man that has many talents, the king of shade himself, Mr. Cause.
Yay, thank you. It has been a while. It has been a very long while. But yes, I would consider myself one of the founding fathers of the channel.
You know, that's
Yes.
actually a big fact. That's actually a big fact. With him out the way, let's go to my second special guest. It's his first time on the channel, so please, people, show him all the love. This man, I call him the Master Roshi because he literally is one of the most knowledgeable people I know when it comes to Marvel, when it comes to anime. I ain't tested him on DC, but he knows enough to stand his ground. Brad, how you doing, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Finally, man. Been a while.
I know, innit? I know. I have dropped the ball because I should be reviewing much more anime so I can get your take and your opinions on certain shows which I've watched.
Yeah, no, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Let's get into this. Guys, we went on Friday to go watch Black Panther. Everybody kind of walked away with different opinions and mixed feelings, I would say. Fellow critics.
Hey, I was waiting for someone to say something. 'Cause I
I
like to
was
jump
waiting,
in
yeah.
first.
Nah, listen, feel free, feel free.
Are we giving
Well,
overall opinions like straight away at the
how did you guys feel about the beginning, like essentially with T'Challa dying of the mystery illness that we don't know about and Shuri trying to save him, but trying to recreate the heart-shaped herb?
To be honest, for me, I love that. I think for me, it was a bit of a shock as well. I think it was just like, wow, we're getting straight into this. Like, as soon as it started, it was like, all right, this is happening. And then I think for me sitting there as well, it was just like, obviously we only know Chadwick Boseman through, we don't know him personally, but I feel like we've all built an affinity and a real connection with his character, him as a person through interviews, what we've seen of him, right? And for him to be taken away from us so suddenly in real life, and for then that to play out again in front of us in literally the first, as soon as the film starts, it's like chaos ensues, like something's happened, systems are going off. It was just like crap. Like I was like, give me some time to mentally prepare for this. I thought this was coming like a bit later in the film, and it was like, damn, we gotta go through this again. So I think for me, it was just like, oh god, they're doing it right away. So I think it just kind of threw us all in. We were like, yeah, we knew this was happening. We knew this is what was coming to film for them to address, and yeah, it was out the gate. But yeah, I like the way they handled it. Though. I like kind of the panic and turmoil because it was reflective of how we were feeling like when we heard the news in real life. We were like, wait, is this real? Like when that was announced that he passed, it was all like, wait, what's going on? Is this real? Can someone fact check this first? I feel like we was all having the same kind of emotion. It was just kind of reliving almost trauma for us as well.
I agree with that as well, yeah, man. I definitely feel that like the first 20 minutes of the movie was definitely like a great homage to Chadwick, and the way they done it as well was that it was very intelligent the way they done it, to say that he died of like just a mystery illness. They didn't kind of dive too deep into it and try to give too much into that aspect of it, but just the fact that this was happening, yeah, and obviously Shuri being who she is, she's gonna want to try and save him, so she's tried to recreate the heart-shaped herb, and for me, yeah, just like Cor said, like just throwing you into it, like just so instantly, it was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like you knew it was, again, you knew it was coming, and you thought, yeah, maybe, it will happen like towards the, like, maybe a bit further into the movie, not too deep into it, but a bit, but just to be thrown straight in, and yeah, it was, it was definitely a bit like, whoa, you're just like, you are feeling it, yeah. So the whole, the whole funeral bit as well, great way that they represented it, obviously the Wakanda's all about, the dance and everything, the fact that they had like the dancing in slow motion, people were happy and like celebrating this life, it kind of reflected both for T'Challa as well as Chadwick, that's what, we would have expected them to do for him.
It was beautifully shot, that particular like scene, and I think just how they were all in white, and again, just contrast to being more of a celebration of life, which is I think quite a thing for certain cultures as well, where typically it's like, okay, you wear black to funeral or whatever, But it was like everyone's looking regal, everyone's in white. It was a celebration. Even though for the family that was close, people that were close to him were, very upset, sad, and that. But for everyone else, it was, it was a celebration of life and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it was very poetically told that we both could see it on screen, but also we all felt like that outside for Chadwick as well. So yeah, a whole celebration for him.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
But I
no.
tell you, but do you know what cool? Do you know what got me though? That messed me up, right? So I'm sitting there watching that. The whole funeral scene was like, this is sad, like all of that. But baby, when that Marvel intro hit, you could hear a pin
Oh
drop in that
yeah.
cinema.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah, I was just about to say that as well. That Marvel intro, that is the first, you normally hear the little whole fanfare and the
and
normal,
you'll see
but
all of them,
all
just
of them,
him.
just him, just like some of the quotes from, from Black Panther, from, Infinity War, that were his words that he spoke. Yeah, that hit, because that was just like, wow. Yeah, yeah, like you said, you could just hear a pin drop. It was just so silent.
Whole cinema was quiet, and it was, and
Yeah.
someone did point it out. It was like how we normally would have like a minute silence of people,
Mhm.
whenever those things, and that's what it felt like. It was like a minute silence. Everyone was just still. You couldn't hear a sound, and we just like watched that intro with him and only him. Yeah, that was powerful. That
Didn't
was
even
really,
think
really
of it
good.
like
Yeah.
that. A minute
Yeah.
silence thing. I didn't even think of it
Mhm.
like that till you just dropped it. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Like he's really gone. That's why I said as much as this was like us being able to go because it wasn't publicized. We didn't see anything. It wasn't one of those, Chadwick's funeral wasn't one of those that was publicized that we could watch like the Queen's funeral or something like that. That was very intimate. So I think, Ryan Coogler doing this was a way for us to feel like we were a part of it, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We as fans was able to experience a funeral and celebrate life.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. Let me get you guys' thoughts on what you felt was the negatives of the film, and then defend your points. And if we agree, we shall add our own little 2 cents.
Okay. I think for me, one of the negatives I had was there just wasn't enough fight and action sequences for me. I think it was this particular film. I think was very story heavy, which I can understand based on the tone of the film, and I think it required that in some aspect. But I did miss seeing, some more fight scenes, some more action sequences. I think there were some like when they happened. I think they were really good. Like I think we had one like the chase scene from the warehouse. I thought was a really cool scene. Then obviously when Namor comes to just F up everything, like that was cool. And then we had the end scene as well. And I'm trying to recall if there was anything else. And I think for the length of the film that it was being like 2 hours and 40 minutes, and correct me if
Two
I'm
hours
wrong, but to
45.
have 2 hours and 45 minutes, but correct me if I'm wrong, if we only have like three, key action sequences in a
Yeah,
nearly 3 hour film,
yeah.
that's not really a good thing. So I would have wanted more out of that. So that's my first one. My second point as well is the exploration of the other characters. I think for this particular film, we did get to see some new characters come in. One in particular, I wish that I got to know a bit more about, was, I don't know what her name is in the film, but Michaela Cole's character. I think to
Yep.
have her in the film, such a prominent name in film and TV, like the work that she's done, and to bring her in, such a name like that, I kind of feel like her character was a bit underplayed, and I feel like I
Yeah.
wish we had a bit more depth into, what her motivations were. I think she kind of questioned, Okoye's character questioned, why did she join the Dora Milaje, but I don't feel like it was really explored much as to what her true motivations are, why she was, who she was, and I think near the end you kind of see that she's in a relationship with, I believe that character's Nayo, that Florence
Y-
Kasumba plays, but she was kind of
Yeah.
rubbing her
Yeah.
back. So like they lived
Yeah.
together. So I was like, okay, so these two are a couple. But I just wanted to get a bit more for who she is as an actress and what she does in film and TV. Like that should have been a bigger role. And I wish we got to see more of that as well. So those are two things. I do have some more, but I'll pass. Like I don't want to talk too
Yeah. You know what? Before I get Brad's negatives, I have to agree with you in terms of the action and the lack of focus on certain characters. Because, like you said, for a 2 hour and 45 minute movie, they are really truly only 3 action sets.
much.
And the thing is, even the action set pieces, I think only the last one is like around 10 minutes long, whereas the others, I think like they're done like within like 7 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
I feel, yeah, for a 2 hour 45 minute movie, they definitely should have put a bit more, I think, effort into. If you're gonna give us 3 set pieces, then those 3 have to really be epic. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just felt like
because
Namor, the fight at the end with Namor and Black Panther, it was done so quickly. It was like, what
Too quick.
happens? Like, yeah, it was just too
Too
quick. I
quick.
wanted more. Like, I wanted more. Again, just the whole fight, ripping the wing off his foot. It was like, yeah, okay, this is gonna get in. And then literally, that was it. It was done. It was like, what happened there? Like, and then they just agreed to work together. And it was like, wow, okay, so that's finished. Yeah, what happened there? No, so yeah, that was definitely one of my peeves as well. I was like, the fight scenes were just too short. I felt that they needed more.
As you said, like that particular scene there, like with them two fighting, I felt like it had what I wanted because it was quite intense. It was quite brutal. Like even the way he was attacking her, like you could really, they really demonstrated how powerful Namor was. She was taking all those hits and her ripping off the wing, him stabbing her with the pole. I was like, okay, but I was like, I wanted more. I wanted that scene to be even bigger. And for me, I felt like for the build up that they had for the entire film, I thought, okay, we've got 3 hours. This final battle has to be just Endgame level. Like we're gonna have to push it on that. Like how Endgame really gave us a long scene. Because when you watch Endgame, right, there's not much really happening in that film until we get to that final scene, and then you're left feeling just like, yes, this is what I came
yeah,
for. This is what you've given me.
yeah,
Like I will sit through this just to get to this. You're gonna follow this, and then we get this final scene, and I was just like, okay. There were some nice moments,
Yeah.
but the meal wasn't it wasn't complete. I didn't get all the dishes. I didn't get all the sides that I wanted. In that sense. So yeah, it just kind of was. I was left wanting more.
yeah. No, you're right. I feel when it came to that final fight, it's like I said before. I felt they didn't emphasize enough in that fight the conflict of ideology,
Yeah.
where you really feel what the other person is fighting for. Because the one thing which you can easily say about Namor is Namor isn't like the stereotypical villain. He's not really a villain in this film
He's more an
because
anti-hero.
Yeah. Yeah. Anti-hero,
Because
definitely.
he's not really out there, as you said, he's not really like, I'm here to tear down the world, all of this kind of stuff. The guy has basically told us throughout the film, like, I've been here for a while. 500 years have passed. I've seen everything. I've tried everything.
yeah,
I've tried the
it
peaceful
don't
thing. I've
change.
tried all of that,
It don't.
and nothing's changed. So now my hand is forced to do, okay? So, like, I understood that. So that's why I wouldn't, I kind of felt for him in it. Like, I hear your story, mate. I've been there. I've tried things. Sometimes you just have to just bring violence. Sometimes. If you don't hear, you must feel. So
Feel.
I've
This
done the
is
job.
it.
100%.
It's now time for me to put the wings on the foot and just start batting up everyone because no one is listening. So I
It's
got
true, and the thing with that is, like he even said to Remora, your son had no right to tell the world about vibranium. Again, he didn't know that there were other places that had vibranium. He
that had
literally
it.
just
Yeah.
assumed it was Wakanda alone. But it's like, no, you've now put a target on
On us.
everybody's back
Mm.
because they're scouring the planet trying to find it. Like you said, I've been here for a long time. I know how this goes. I chose to just stay out of man's world, be calm. When them guys come to my back door, someone getting knocked out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because of how history will always repeat itself and they'll always try to get more power, I'm just gonna have to drown a bit.
Literally.
He said, listen, the whole world has to drown.
For real.
Brad, let us know innit? What was your negative from the film?
Do you know what I think? Like Cole said, yeah, definitely the character building as well. I felt with the whole Riri Williams, and becoming Ironheart, I felt there wasn't enough for me to like, be understanding of like why she wanted to don, the Iron Man or the Ironheart suit. Again, she was at
Mm.
MIT, and that was about it. That was the only connection between her and Tony Stark. It wasn't a case of that she had met him or she had worked under him or anything like that. It was just she created this suit that was very similar to the Iron Man suit. And like she even said, there's like videos on people see videos of me and talk about me, but there was nothing for that build up. There was nothing there for that. You understand? And for me, it was just a bit weird. If they had brought in, instance like the kid from Iron Man 3 and he became Iron Lad or something, you could be like, yeah, there's an understanding, there was a connection there. But there just wasn't any connection between Riri Williams and Tony Stark apart from the fact that she went to MIT and she was like, this young genius. Yeah, it just felt a bit weird. Again, it was just like 3 hour movie close to, you would have to build up some of the other characters as well. And I think that's where they kind of missed out on that, definitely. But one of my other peeves, and I kind of said it to you, Meds, is the whole, the world building as well, the different realms, the different places within Marvel, within the universes. I was really disappointed when they entered Talokan, and it was just dark and murky. And it goes back to the sort of the Justice League and, Aquaman, when they speak of Atlantis And, obviously Namor was originally from Atlantis, and I don't really know why Marvel changed that sort of aspect, making it a bit more Aztec, building into the story of Namor. I felt it was a really good thing for them to do, to change it from him being from Atlantis, because obviously you would always compare that to the DC version of Aquaman.
Mm,
So having it a different sort of location was really good, but I just felt that when you actually got to enter Talokan, I wanted it to be almost like when you entered Wakanda for the first time, or when you
you're like
entered
amazed
the
by it,
ancestral
yeah.
realm. You wanted to feel like, oh my God, this is
Grand, like, wow.
amazing. It's grand, yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was really
It was.
dark and murky.
It was, and I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. However, I love that. Like that whole one thing I will say, and I'm moving further, but the whoever orchestrated that music for that scene there, it was just perfect. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know
no, the
who
music was perfect. I think even like the camera work, the way that like they
the
flowed
way they
like through
flow. Yeah,
the city, like going through. Yeah, I thought that was amazing.
that part
But
was just like. But I do understand. It did give me very dirty underwear, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is your
even when
home.
he said, sorry, even when he said, for me, even when he said like, "Oh, I brought the sun to the city," and the machine opened up and that thing came up, I thought we was just gonna get this glorious, like glowing gold city, and it barely lit up the bottom of the machine, and I
Barely.
was like, "Mate, what is that?"
No, but I
For me, at that
understand
point, I
it
was like,
further.
yeah,
Like
nah, yeah, let's move
I'm
on from
trying.
Talokan. This isn't what I wanted. I
The thing is,
really thought that machine was just
like,
gonna
okay,
light up the whole place.
I'm thinking like, okay, scientifically, right? The further you go down into into water, the darker it becomes. Now, I'm sure as far as they've gone down, it would be pretty much pitch black, okay?
Yeah.
Like light can't get to it. So I get that point of it should be, glorious and bright. But it's like, okay, I do understand that it wouldn't be technically because then people on the other side would be like, how are they so far down underwater and it's so bright down? Like, what's bringing that? But then the whole part of him saying he brought the sun down there.
Mm,
He brought the sun down. It should look a little nice. I don't know. Maybe the what's these people called? Are they called Talakan? That was they're called.
I guess we can
I
call them
think the
that.
city's called Talokan. I think they
Well,
were
what are they
Talokans as
called?
well.
Okay, well, whatever they're called. Maybe they're just not, good at painting and decorating. Maybe they just don't have good interior designer. Maybe that's just not their
Nah,
thing. Like they've been underwater, they ain't really seen
nah,
much. Like, if you live under your entire life, they ain't really seen Bandai and on this. Wakanda, they see stuff. They see what's going on in the world. They're like, oh, I like this. Fashion is good here. They only know what's underwater.
nah,
So, I'm
nah.
just gonna,
I can't lie.
I'm gonna give it to them. They're just probably
Nah,
just
I
saying
can't
that. But
lie.
Because
Nah,
I
I
was
can't.
saying that, yeah. But then when they came out of the water, so when they was on the bridge scene and they had
mm.
like the jewelry on, and she had that,
Oh
the
no, they
woman
looked
had like the
amazing.
feather hair,
They
like
looked
the little feather
amazing.
crown thing. Yeah, that was like that's what I wanted to see underwater. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I can't lie. I can't lie. Let's be honest with ourselves. Again, this is a fictional world, isn't it? So there's, yeah, I mean, like it's a fictional world. Not trying and add super realism to the fact that we're seeing people just underwater making baskets and that, man, and doing the kamehameha. So I agree with Brad. In terms of if that place started off dark, like the murky water aspect, like what we saw, then I'm cool with that. But the moment when he said, I brought the sun to my people, first of all, we're not even gonna ask how the hell he made that sun, by. Let's not even ask that question. Because
Do you
I
know
was
what?
thinking, how did he make the sun, bro? It's vibranium, but how they don't have no technology. They literally
Yeah,
are very
yeah.
primitive. How the hell did he make the sun? I was like, you know what? Cool. Let me not even go down that road.
Hey,
But
do you know what? I thought maybe it was machine that dropped into the water and man didn't come and fetch it, innit?
I'm not just
He's
came
trying
and
to say,
smelled
what's
it.
this trying in the river? I need to take that, you understand? And he was like, yeah, the
Um,
power of the sun, innit? So I'm gonna make the
but
sun underwater.
I was just swimming by the Hudson and you saw the thing and said, you know what, yeah, this is coming back home with me.
I'm gonna take this. This is mine, bro. That's what I thought. I
So
thought, I thought that could have been a good link, but then again, when it powered up, I was like, nah, this ain't powerful. This ain't a sun.
but yeah, I felt when they dropped that, I brought the sun to my people. I think if they did that moment of, like Brad said, if it lit up the city and you
like, and it
now
really looked
see,
like how Atlantis
yeah,
was.
like
Yeah.
you see it
Yeah.
come alive, but yeah, it literally only lit up like two planktons on either side of
To
the
be
screen.
honest, it's almost like if you compare it though, I guess it's just how the interpretation. Because when going back to like when you look at how the city of Atlantis was created in the Aquaman movie Paris of the Justice League, though,
Oh
it
my
looks
God.
like two completely different cities.
Yeah.
Because
Yes,
this was very
because people
reminiscent of
said,
what Zack Snyder's vision of
And that was
Atlantis that was
terrible.
very
That's the
murky
whole
and
point.
underwater.
That's the whole point. It literally looked like Aquaman was swimming through doo-doo. It was like, bro, like, how's Atlantis looking here? Like, you guys have never cleaned this water. It's looking like a bad fish tank.
So Zack Snyder's
So,
interpretation of Atlantis was very murky, but then who was it that did it? The guy that did Insidious? James Wan. James Wan,
yeah,
when he did
James Wan.
Aquaman, his
Yeah,
version of
yeah,
Aquaman was very bright, very like, this is the city of luxury. You come down
Yeah.
here, you know, you're gonna get the finest of the
exactly.
fine.
You know, like,
You know,
that
yeah.
squid is going to roll up onto your plate.
Or maybe,
So,
you know, it was
yeah.
a stylistic choice from the director. He wanted to show the juxtaposition of the beauty of Wakanda versus the
The
living
dark
under the
and
sea.
murkiness
I
of
get it, right?
Halokan.
Nah, that's mad. That's mad. Right. If he's trying to say yeah that like black people are nothing but vibrant, but then indigenous are just hella murky and that man. There's a lot of shade.
Like I said, they've been here for a long time. They ain't seen the fruit. They haven't seen grand design. That's why. Oh,
All
God.
right. Nah, fair enough, innit? Fair enough. I'll give you that. With that being said, what was one of your other points that you felt let you down or didn't deliver?
Not so much didn't deliver. I did feel like it was a bit long. Like it did run on long, and that could have been shortened down a bit. Not that I wasn't enjoying it. Like I sat there fully engaged, but it was just coming out after, and I was like, right, that was a long ass film. But geez.
Yeah.
Like I think that was, and again for me, it was certain characters. I think no, sorry, as well. Another negative for me was that final battle, and I'll tell you why. Because I know how we spoke about I wanted it to be grand, and that I think the decision to make the final battle or the final scene take place on that weird looking ship thing, I think shot themselves in the foot. Two armies coming together to fight one another, and for that to just take place on this small, well, it was a big ship, but small in comparison. So I was hoping that that would have started there, you know, initially, because, you know, that was to get them out of the water. But somehow I wanted it to take place, the rest of the battle to be, I
On
don't know,
land.
maybe on land, yeah, in a bigger, like, even in the area where Namor and Shuri were fighting, right? I wanted, even if it were there and battle was happening around them, but having their own thing or whatever, like, I just wanted it to be a bit grander in that
Yeah.
space. Another thing that
Yeah.
annoyed me as well, which I wasn't happy about, was the final culmination between Okoye's character and Big Brother, who she was fighting, because that scene that they had when they were fighting on the bridge was brutal. Like when he
Yeah.
broke her arm, when her arm
Yeah.
or whatever dislocated, right? I was like,
Yeah, dislocated her shoulder, yeah.
yeah, when
I
it
think
dislocated, I
everybody
was
in
like,
the cinema was like,
felt
"Oh,
that. I
when
was like,
he
Jesus.
pulled her."
When he put her
Yeah.
and she just went bam into the sea, I was like, Lord, there was so much beef between those two characters that I was hoping that my girl's got, Okoye's got the suit now, she got the new suit, let's bring this, let's do this battle here. And then I just felt like we didn't get enough.
No.
And for her
Yeah.
to just, and like, what did she do? Like, she kicked him off the ship into the water. So you've
Yeah,
just
that
kicked
was
him
it.
off into where he thrives. So you've just kicked him back where he wants to be, where he thrives the most in water, and that was the end. Like, it just didn't, you know, I wanted more from that. And it was cool with her doing, you know, when they came in the suits, and the suits, obviously it gave them superpowers, and Michaela Cole's character was able to, you know, fly around and do all of this stuff. Like, that was cool. But again, I just wanted to have a bit more of Okoye's scene with them. Also, I just felt like I don't know, M'Baku really wasn't giving me a Baku that I wanted as well. Because
Yes. Yes.
Now, after Neymar pumped him in the chest, yeah, I think he was like, "No, I'm not here for it."
it was almost reminiscent of when Hulk batted, and then Hulk was just full on pussy the whole rest of the whole film. Like, Hulk
Yep.
weren't doing nothing. What was that, in Infinity War or whatever?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I think it was
War.
Infinity War, and then Hulk was just a full shell of himself the entire rest of that film. So that's what it felt like. I wanted to have more M'Baku. Even Nakia's character, we didn't really get to see her doing a lot of combat in that final scene, so a bit more of an emphasis on those. So those were my things.
Yes, I feel that final battle, I think it would have been good if it started on the boat, like to kind of lure them, but then if they finished it off on land, because like you said, they get their power from the sea, and you're having a battle in the ocean.
Right.
So that's not really smart.
That's not smart.
Yeah, even if the ship
You know,
turned into like a helicarrier and just flew into the sky,
Yeah.
opened up more so that they had more of like a level playing field now. They're like, we're in the sky, you know, we're on land, like, you know, you're not in water, so, you know, yeah, we're taking the fight now, you understand? But yeah, it was like they kicked them into the water and they just get powered up again and then just drop
They're just
back on
getting a recharge.
Yeah.
that's true.
Recharged him.
No, you're right. And that's the thing. And I feel like, yeah, like with Okoye's fight, it was super lackluster because, again, it's been a constant build up. The funny thing is, even like the second time, you know, like when they attack Wakanda and he's like on the roof and he's like, warrior, and he points at her. We're going to run it back, but then she has to go rescue the little boy. So it's like next time, he's like, all right, cool. So when they finally meet each other on the helicarrier. My bad, it wasn't even a helicarrier. The big boat. And now it's like evil footing. They have like their confrontation. I was thinking, okay, yeah, this is gonna be like a sick back and forth. It's gonna be
Yes.
Okoye and his fight, and then Shuri and Namor's fight going back to back,
Yes.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
It was literally very lackluster. It ended so quick. To go like to Shuri's fight with Namor, I can't lie to you. I felt that Shuri hasn't put enough work in to be able to fight Namor like on equal footing. And yes, I know Namor was supposedly dehydrated and he's been
He
weakened.
wasn't at his
But
best.
but they say that he's meant to have the strength of the Hulk.
The Hulk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm like, bruh, even if this man's dehydrated, he should still be knocking her out after like 6 combos. Because under normal circumstances, 2 punches and he should be down. But he's been weakened enough to where he's not as strong. But he was hitting her with combos. When he gave her that crazy Mayan elbow into the rock,
He just
I literally thought, okay, cool. Like she's gonna have like a backup plan. Even though the first thing was to dry him out, but he's crashed the ship. I thought, yeah, she's gonna have a bit more toys up her sleeves because even though Shuri is now the Black Panther, she's not a fighter like that. She uses more gadgets.
brains. Exactly.
Yeah. That was
Almost
one
like
of my problems
Batman.
as well.
She would have been almost like how Batman fight. Like, I'm
Yeah.
use my
Using more gadgets, a bit smarter,
Exactly. I'm gonna
outsmarting
outsmart
the
you, yeah.
opponent. Yeah, that
But
was one of
she
my
didn't.
things as well.
Yeah, she just went straight like, nah, listen, like we're just running these hands. And so I kind of felt it was a little bit like, yeah, lackluster. And the funny thing is, yeah, even you see like when Namor stabbed it, which that shocked, I said, raw, that's crazy, right? I didn't see that coming. For me, yeah, I thought, okay, if she's dying here, I thought this is where she's gonna go like to the ancestral plane, see her mum this time, and like her mum would give her like that talk of like, remember who you are, or show him who you are. And then, obviously,
But
because
I'm kind of glad they did that though.
Nah, okay. Let me tell you what I thought that they should have done. Because again, don't put Chad in there. They should have put, like you see, like that tree of leopards that Chad saw,
Okay, yeah.
where like the leopard jumps off and then like it becomes his dad, and all the other leopards are the previous panthers for him. I felt cool. If you're not gonna show Chad, great, but they should have showed her mum standing before that tree of panthers. And like when you see like that one panther, and like we all know who that panther is.
We know.
And you'd be like, oh,
yeah, it would have been.
yeah, and you'd be like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
that would have been.
Yeah, like remember who you are, because the reason why I say that is, yeah, like it flashed back to her conversation with Killmonger.
Yeah.
And like it was like, what you gonna do? Like you gonna get shit done like me? And she's like, I'm not my brother. I was like, okay. So when she woke off the stairs, she's like, listen, I'm gonna kill him. Like Namor will die before me. I want to see him die before me, and that's what's spurring her onward. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now that you've got to him, where's all this sympathy coming from? Because you just pulled yourself off a spear to get him. Nobody gave you like no motivational speech of like, Shuri, like you can do this. Your strength comes from your heart. Nah, she's like, revenge is what's with me right now. Breaks off the spear, and she's come and she's finally got him. So for her now, yeah, to be on the verge of revenge, and then that's when Mummy comes from the sky looking like Mufasa and that man. I was like, nah, that don't work. It doesn't work. Well, not for me anyway.
Yeah, I had my views on the whole ancestral plane thing. That I felt that they kind of mentioned it like quite early on in the movie that Shuri didn't actually believe that the ancestral plane was like you actually seeing your ancestors in it. They did kind of brush over that. So when that whole scene happened, where she sees Killmonger and she's having that conversation with him, I genuinely feel that is her interpretation of the situation at the current moment. She was angry. She wanted to see the world burn. She even said it herself. And Namor even brought up and said, "You said you wanted to see the world burn. This is why I've come to you now and said like I want Wakanda to join me to burn the rest of the world down." And I think her seeing Killmonger was because that was his whole view as well. And obviously, yeah, again, when it flashed back to him, like her being like stabbed and then him saying like, "What are you gonna do? You're gonna be like your brother. You're gonna be like me." I think in her moment, she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be like you. I'm gonna kill him." But that's not her. Like we don't ever see her be a killer. Even in Infinity War, in Endgame, her gadgets were always more like to deflect people away from her. Yeah, they weren't ever attacks. Remember? Yeah, they were never to kill. She had them ones that like shot out
just
the
to
air.
Disarm and disable. Yeah,
to disarm and disable and push people away, sort of thing. It was never to kill. So I think at that point where she was thinking, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill him," that's when she saw, her mum and started maybe thought, "Yeah, that isn't me," and that was her sort of interpretation of seeing the actual ancestral plane, sort of thing. It's a bit of a contrast. I get what you're saying, man. I completely get it. I just feel that again, again, you know, maybe this movie should have been more about her building into the character or building into becoming the Black Panther, you know, understanding what was, you know, what was right, what was needed, what was necessary of her to do. But I think again, it was just, although it was such a long movie, those key bits were just like really sped up very, very quickly. So, you know, she took the herb, she all of a sudden had a suit, she was ready to go. Even the fight on the little ship when she came down the side and then she did like the little, like she did a turn and she kicked one person and then she kind of done like a panther sort of, and it was just graceful and it was like, where's all that come from? Like, saying like this, she weren't a fighter. She weren't a fighter like that. To then all of a sudden become a massive fighter. It was, yeah, it was just a bit weird. It was like,
It's
yeah,
the
it was.
herbs. It's the herbs. The
You
herbs.
know,
It's
it's
the
that herb thing. Do you know what the crazy part is? Yeah, like, and to me, this is what I felt they should have done, because the thing about the MCU version of Wakanda and the Black Panther man different the comics. They even said it in Civil War that before T'Challa was the Black Panther before he became king. So like they're two separate mantles. But when he's riding in the car, when he's being captured and they've got Bucky, he's like, I am now Wakanda's protector and Wakanda's king. So what do you think I'm going to do to your friend? Do you really think you can protect him from me? Whereas in the comic books, the mantle and the kingship were one and the same. The king was Black
Yeah.
Panther. So Chad had it before he was ever king. And so they've made it very clear that the two mantles are separate. The Black Panther is the protector of Wakanda, but he's not the king of Wakanda.
King, yeah.
And so for me, what I actually thought they were gonna do, I actually thought it was gonna be Okoye, if I'm being honest, because you know, like when Queen Ramonda removed the,
Yeah.
I thought, okay, cool, like you're not, like you've been stripped of your general title and you're no longer gonna be there. So that technically means that you can be the Black Panther now. You can be the protector of Wakanda, because even when she gave that speech, like allow me to die serving this country, I thought, okay, they're gonna make you the Black Panther. Shuri will obviously become queen. Turn up.
Did
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
that? I didn't think. I don't know. I didn't think Okoye would ever. I knew at some point they were foreshadowing that Okoye would be back to fight, and that's why they were hinting. Because from earlier in the film, when they were talking about this suit, this prototype suit that she was building for her, I said I knew at some point that was like foreshadowing that Okoye is gonna wear this at some point. You know, she's gonna realize this is the super suit that she's gonna wear. So you know, I knew Shuri was going to put the suit on, but I do understand like the build up to get to it. But for this film in particular, like it's such a juxtaposition. It's such a contrast from the original film and not say the original, the first film and this film, because I feel like that the first film was such an uplifting. It was just a whole celebration. I think like when they announced Black Panther, they announced the cast, we all got excited. You know, there was all those trends like we're all gonna put on our attire and go and watch the film. Like it was such an uplifting film. Everyone was doing the Wakanda Forever pose. Like it was just that. And then this film, because again we knew what had happened outside of the film, all of Chadwick passing the, you know, we knew that needed to be addressed. And from Kevin Feige said, we're not replacing T'Challa. That's not going to happen. We're like, okay, so we really not going. So we walked into this knowing that this is going to happen. So the film itself from jump was just very just dark, very somber, very just like very sad. And I think throughout the entirety of the film, it just told the story of grief, loss, sadness, and that was just the charging point for Shuri's character to get her to that. Because I think for her personally, she felt that I can't become, you know, the Black Panther. Number one, I'm a woman, so that's just impossible. That's completely against tradition. So her having to go through all of this, like literally from jump, she's lost her only brother. That happened, and then it leads to her losing the. Well, first of all, we forget like she's lost her dad. Okay,
Yeah,
she
boy,
lost her dad already.
They never talk about him, boy.
They don't really talk about him, and that's quite a weird thing as well for me, because we never really see the father-daughter relationship. Never really touch on that at all. So she lost her father, right? In Civil War, that happened. Her brother has now lost. And then in the same film, which again, when it happened, I leaned forward in my seat and turned to you, man, because I was like, what the hell?
Literally, I did not see that coming.
Blindside. So all of the father's gone now. It's now you're really doing it. So now it's like, who else? I'm the only one left of this. There's no one else. I'm the only person. I have to do this. It became a realization for her where it was like, I'm mad. So as you said, you know, she goes to the ancestral. She takes it. She builds the herb. She takes it, and you know, again, that scene even shocked me because I was expecting to see Mother in the chair, and then it turned around and Killmonger's.
Listen, I have just one question, Who is out here doing his braids in the ancestral realm? Because they were looking glorious.
He was glorious. They were
Bruh,
glorious.
bruh, the locks in death were better than the locks in life.
Them definitely long. He can have one. I don't know which Ralph that is, but you know, I think it works. But he has a silence. Someone silent him. So
You
he
know?
came and like even that, and for her to channel the anger, and as you said, you know, she was filled with rage and wanted revenge. So it was only right that she saw the other person who had the same agenda was like, yeah, revenge. It's time to take back what's mine.
This is
So
it.
her seeing that, and then even what I love, right? If you notice when she puts on the Black Panther mask, it's a blend
Yeah, it's a
of
combination.
both, a
Yeah,
combination of T'Challa
yeah,
and Killmonger's suit together, which I
Yeah.
thought
yeah.
was very clever because that's how her mind was working. It was like a duality of minds, like, oh my gosh, I know I'm supposed to do the right thing here, but still, revenge is on mine and I'm out for blood right now. So I really liked that element of having kind of like the dual mentality of having, you know, almost like having the angel and the devil on both shoulders.
Say some shit.